I'm Kevin Stevens, a native Pensacolian, husband, father, and U.S. Navy veteran. But that's not what this is about. I'm a local businessman who has owned many successful companies over the years. But it's not about this either. Recently, I ran for public office and was elected to a seat on the ECUA Board of Commissioners. So what's this about? It's about an elected official who will serve his community and hold his fellow elected officials accountable, all while making local government more transparent. Join me in making Pensacola a better place to live, work, and play. So welcome to another episode of On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So as promised, we're in political season right now. So I've been telling folks for quite some time that we're going to try to bring some of the candidates on my show to get to know them a little bit better. Just talk about some of the issues, some of the hot buttons, and just really some of the challenges facing our community, and then perhaps maybe talk about some resolutions. So right now I've had D.C. Reeves, candidate for mayor, gracious enough to accept my invitation.
Hey,
so
thanks
thank
for
you so
having
much.
me. Yeah, no, I enjoy it. Thanks for having me.
So really, DC, just I know you're from Pensacola, but you tell us a little bit about yourself for all the folks that don't know you and don't know a little bit about your background and what you're all about.
Of course, yeah. So I'm a Pensacola kid, born and raised here. Went to Pensacola Catholic High School, graduated. I can't believe it's now been 20 years. So that was a good reminder of how time flies, exactly. So 38 years old, spent a lot of my years in sports journalism. So about 15 years of my professional career, covered Florida State football, Alabama football, and then was lucky enough to get hired by Quint Studer in 2015 and get a chance to move back home. So worked in a lot of different roles, but mainly as Quint's chief of staff for about 6 years. And now, I should say within that time, I was also went out on my own and took some risk and emptied my checking account to become an entrepreneur, and had the entrepreneur blood in me. So I opened Perfect Plain Brewing Company in 2017. And
great place, by the way. If you haven't, those of you who have not visited that, fantastic IPAs.
Good. That's a good advertisement. Thank you. But so we've actually grown that to about 4 different concepts now. We have almost 40 employees, and started with 6. Almost 5 years ago. So that's been an exciting and rewarding adventure, and certainly learn a lot. As you know, when you're in business and the buck stops with you, 100%. Financially, management-wise, all of those things, was able to learn a lot through that process. And then, of course, while doing that work with Quint Studer, and of course he does so many things, he's so involved in our community, so that gave me a lot of opportunity to do community impactful projects. And one ironic one was I was the lead staff of Mayor Grover Robinson's transition team because Quint was the chairperson of the transition team. So I helped put the whole report together. So I never thought 4 years later, I'd be sitting here. I figured, Mayor Robinson would be running again, but here I am. And so I'm really excited for this opportunity. And I tell people all the time, it's my selfish reason for doing this is we want our kids and grandkids home. I have a 7-year-old, and when she's 22 and she, graduates from Harvard or Yale or wherever she's gonna, because she's so smarter than me. Wherever she goes, I want her to end up back here. And so we've got to continue to grow our vibrancy, open the funnel of opportunity for young people to move back here. And so that's really my personal selfish reason for taking this project on.
And I appreciate that. I think anybody that wants to go out there and serve the community, I always tell folks, have that servant leader's mentality to give back to a community that's given back so much to you, so much to me, And, for all the folks out there, I've being a small business owner myself, that is huge to have the background, which is what I had to ask myself, what can I add value to ECUA when I ran for that office, and having that business background is huge. Because it gives you such a different perspective than an individual who has not had to have to meet those payroll obligations, receivables, payables, that sort of thing. So that in itself, I think gives folks an additional qualification. And I'd like to talk a little bit about some of your business background, just as soon as we get back from the short commercial break.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does two things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. You know, there are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
ING Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So when we left off, we were just introducing some of the public who may not know DC Reeves, candidate for mayor of Pensacola. So DC, again, thanks again for coming on. So when we left, we were just talking about some of your business background, some of your personal background, and then briefly on some of the businesses that you run and oversee now. And tell us a little bit about a little bit more detail on how that could very possibly, in fact, I feel it will, parlay over into running a city, for example.
Absolutely. Well, I say, you don't really know what it's like until you're in it, truly, when you're running a business. And especially, I tell people all the time, I'm financially invested here, I'm emotionally invested here in Pensacola, because when you open a business, you give it everything you got. It was every cent to my name, every hour of my time, sleepless nights, worrying about, can we make payroll, the next 2 weeks, all those things that you can't really teach, until you're in it. So that was valuable. And also, management humbles you too. Nobody has all the right answers. And I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in entrepreneurship, and a lot of people ask me, what's the biggest thing you've learned as a business owner? And I say, it's knowing what you know and knowing what you don't, and it's really trying to figure out those times when you know what you don't know and to find the right people to put other people that work with you in positions to be successful. It's not about the glory or the ego. It's about getting things done. And so being an entrepreneur or being a business owner really humbles you in that way too. And I think it just enriches your life experience. I think anybody who has had to make a payroll, has dealt with remember all your 40 employees, they have lives and things happen to them in their lives, and they're out with
children, families,
health issues. All that stuff. It's a lot to juggle. But when you do it without ego, without saying I think I've got all the answers, we've been able to find a lot of success with that. And so I'm careful in saying not every aspect of the city can be run like a business. There are things you subsidize, right? There's things that never are going to have a financial ROI, but there certainly are some departments within the city, or some things that are the responsibilities of the city that could be run like a business and be run perhaps more efficiently or better, stronger, with a business mindset. So I look to bring fresh eyes and a fresh business owner perspective to some of the things to just help the city operate better.
And to your point, when you talk about, building those coalitions or partnerships, because, the old Zig Ziglar, one of the great motivational speakers of our time, said one is too small a number for greatness.
Right.
And to that point, I've had Representative Salzman on here, I've had some county commissioners and so forth on here. I've had our director, Bruce Woody, for ECA on here, talking about doing some collaborative work with the county.
Right.
We've got. We were blessed enough to apply for some state and some federal help. ACUA brought back $11 million back to Escambia County and the ratepayers of ECUA. A large hunk of that is going to the city,
right.
To Brownsville for some of the sewer expansion and septic to sewer conversions. So that in itself is huge. But I always talk to folks such as yourself, as well as some candidates for county commission, and I always want to hear, like, how in tune are you? How passionate are you about working with your city council folks, right?
Exactly.
Your county commissioners, your state representatives, because again, you're bringing that together collaboratively. Helps out with funding, helps out with ideas. Just a whole host of positive.
Well, and I'll say, it's being the mayor of the city is a sales job in its best form, which is you've got to build relationships. You've got to have a short memory. You're going to agree on some things, and you're going to disagree. But if we're all rowing this boat together, generally speaking, that's really where great things can happen. If we can drop the ego and not try to get in petty arguments with one another, but also just go the right direction.
So when we come back from our break, I want to talk a little bit more about some collaboration and a little bit more about kind of inner city, county commission and so forth, kind of working together to achieve the same goal right after this short break.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
YNG Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does 2 things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently, and they provide remarkable customer service. There are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So when we left off, we were talking to candidate for mayor D.C. Reeves just about some of the collaboration amongst county commission, city council, state representatives, and so forth. But then I want to kind of zero in a little bit more on city council, because right now we've got 3 city council folks up for re-election potentially, and then of course the mayor race.
Right.
So there's going to be quite a sea change going on potentially with 3 significant positions, which will have a direct impact on the direction of our city. And then I'd like to talk to you about that, as well as the strong mayor position.
Yeah, sure.
I know there's some there's always some conversation on both sides of the fence on what folks' opinion is and on the strong mayor position. And you being a candidate for mayor, I'd love to hear yours.
Sure. Okay. Well, absolutely. Well, I think it's not just a like to have, it's a need to have for the mayor to be able to have a good relationship with council. That doesn't mean agree on everything. Sure. That doesn't mean, you may contentiously disagree on something, but at the end of the day, again, if you're doing this for the betterment of your city, then you get over things like that and you just move on to the next deal. And it's all about building relationships, and so that will be, whoever the 7 council folks are, that is going to be a high priority for me, that we have to keep that relationship strong so we can continue to not get stuck in red tape, but to really advance our city. As far as the strong mayor format, I'm a big proponent of it. We've only been doing it for 12 years. If you're not following, it's ultimately After the first 12 years, there was already a planned charter review. So that's what they're doing right now. And then they do it every 10 years after this. And there's some little nuance changes, some language within the charter, things like that. And I think it's always a good, healthy thing to review anything you do.
Sure.
I tell people all the time, one of the most annoying statements I ever hear is, this is how we've always done it. That doesn't mean you have to change the way you do something, but you should always be looking and reviewing and making sure that you're doing it the most optimal way you can. So, look, only 12 years within the Strong Mayor Forum. I think there's a lot of good things. I think it's more a functional operation. If you're asking someone to be the CEO of the city, they've got to be able to hire and fire the people that work for them, because you want the mayor to be accountable to those results, right? You don't want to say, oh, well, hey, I didn't have a choice in hiring this guy or this woman, that was the city council. Well, then we get stuck in a blame game that's not good for the city at all. And so I'm really pleased with how it's gone so far. And I would say the job approval of the mayor is about 20 points higher than the council has been. And that's not saying anything bad about the council, but what to me that says that our city resident, our voter, says that they appreciate the job that the mayor's doing so far, and that they would like to see this continue. So.
And the buck stops with them. So
exactly. So look, if you're going to take this position, then you need to be able to be accountable to results. And I think the best way that our citizens in Pensacola can hold people accountable to results is to have this Strong Mayor Forum.
Okay. And like I said, that being huge to work with, because you're federal city council folks, because I've attended meetings, you've attended meetings. I mean, some of those get kind of contentious, and to your point, you're not always going to agree on everything,
right?
But if everybody's got the mentality of, hey, we're on the same team, we're all residents of Pensacola.
Yeah.
We want what's best for our city. Then I think the end result is going to be a positive outcome. Or at least that's what we're shooting for.
And the old saying, it's like, do we see the forest through the trees here? Not get tied down on one issue, one little minute thing, and have it really affect our city. Let's look at the city holistically and make sure that we're going the right direction together.
No, 100%. So. We'll be right back after this short commercial break, and I want to kind of continue on with where we're going as a city and some of the opportunities we have presented for all of us. We'll be right back.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
YNG Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
So welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So I'm here with candidate for mayor DC Reeves. We left off, we were just getting into downtown Pensacola, some of the projects, some of the potential transformative projects that are being talked about, being discussed. around Bruce Beach, the Wahoo Stadium, Main Street, that sort of area. I know all of eyes have been listening to the council, listening to the mayor, listening to some of the developers and so forth, some of the engineers who have presented some preliminary plans on what that would look like.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. And I think we all know that downtown Pensacola, look, we have 39 square miles in the city. And so I joke, we are not a separationist city. I mean, we don't have enough, 39 square miles is a pretty small place. So every decision that's made, whether it's be it downtown or off Langley, does not matter, or west, north, southeast, doesn't matter. Every decision made in Pensacola affects every Pensacolian. We're too small of a city to say it doesn't. But what we do know is that downtown is our economic driver. I mean, when we talk about local option sales tax, when you talk about property values and property tax, which is our largest general fund revenue stream, all of those things are affected by having a vibrant downtown. And so we should invest in that wisely and make smart decisions, but we should also be aggressive about building a sense of place here. I mean, think about the cities we travel to when we go to Charleston or Savannah or Greenville, South Carolina. You go to these places.
You do a lot of traveling. I see that on your social media pods.
Exactly.
So you're definitely
you want to find best practices.
These great cities.
Yeah, you want to find best practices. What are other people doing well that we can learn from? And so I've gotten to go all over the country during this process and meet with mayors and city officials that are doing really great things that I'd love to bring here. But at the end of the day, we've got to build sense of place. So those projects downtown, I'm really excited about. Bruce Beach, you mentioned. I played a role in that in 2018 when Quint Studer had hired that Scape, the firm that came down and did our waterfront study. So I helped us get feedback from 450 residents. We had sellouts at Sanders Beach, just for people talking about this project. So we spent a lot of time, heart, and energy on really studying what would be best for our downtown. Our entire downtown is hardscape. We have no activated waterfront whatsoever. So this is the last place you can put toes in sand in our downtown. And so it's a very important piece. It's a very important to our African American history here. And so I'm really excited to see that move forward, as well as the hashtag project, which is also underway. And if you're not familiar, that's really a walkable, bikeable improvement, basically down Main, Cedar, East and West, and Jefferson, Palafox, North and South. A couple of years from now, you'll see a transformative difference in how our downtown looks.
Well, and that's what I explain to people is anytime you have a shift in management, in this case, a mayor race going on. There's times more significant than others. This particular time is going to be very transformative, as you just alluded to. You would potentially, if elected, make some transformational, life-changing decisions for our city that you're going to be directly responsible for, kind of captain of the proverbial ship on those. So this is a very, like I said, a very significant time and a very significant race. And again, I liked hearing the ideas.
Well, I want to say, we're on the precipice of really doing great things. I mean, everybody's working more remote than ever now. Where do they want to live? They want to live near the beach and in a beautiful town, So young people, attracting young talent here. We are on the precipice of being able to do some really great things if we're intentional. If we sit around and cut ribbons, take paychecks, that's going to be a lot harder to do. But if we're intentional about the direction we want to go in this city, I think we're really set for wonderful things.
And I appreciate that. And I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. Right when we come back from our break, we'll kind of go in a little bit more, kind of zero in on some of the particular projects and how that could affect all of us. All right. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does two things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. There are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region. specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
So welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. Again, sitting with candidate for mayor DC Reeves. And like I said, when we left off, we were talking about downtown Pensacola, Bruce Beach, some of the projects around Wahoo Stadium, and just kind of previewing some of the projects near and dear to your heart. Yep. Again, transformational projects coming our way.
Yeah,
get ready.
Absolutely. Downtown, as well as, one of our big problems we all know is stormwater infrastructure. We have a lot of that to fix and to improve. In downtown, we know
as
from all
being
of our
on the board member of ECUA, trust me, I hear stormwater quite frequently.
That's a big one, of course, too. What's going to happen at Carpenter Creek?
Sure.
There's a chance to really improve, not just from a water quality standpoint, but from an activation standpoint, and allowing people to interact with what is really a hidden but beautiful natural resource for us. So like we were saying, I think we're on the precipice of really great things here. We really, we're growing. People are coming into town. We're growing. We still have plenty of room to improve. Our processes of how we grow. What's our plan as a city, right now?
And infrastructure, like
right.
I said, to your point, we're spending, we got $11 million grant, as I spoke about before, all primarily going for infrastructure, and a big hunk of that going downtown to get prepared for some of the growth that's coming. And speaking of the growth, I get asked all the time, Kevin, where are all these people coming from? And they're these $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 houses or condos. I'm like, folks, Pensacola has been discovered.
Right.
We have been discovered. You go look at every publication from the Wall Street Journal to the New York Times, it's like top 10 best places to live, or top 10 beaches, and Pensacola is right there on the first page. So no longer are we the quiet little city, the fishing village out there in Destin. We have been discovered, and to that point, when it comes to housing, you'll hear the phrase, which is a loaded question. I know we talked about that, a little bit on the break, but affordable housing and what that means, because it means completely different things to different people. You could talk to 5 people and get 5 different definitions of affordable housing. So. Not to put you on the spot, but what is your definition or opinion on what you would consider affordable housing?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think not only is it a problem here in Pensacola, it's a problem in a lot of places, it's really about 2 things for me. One is we need to up the inventory of houses, period, in Pensacola, Florida. And what I mean by that is we've got to look at opportunities to take large lots in
density,
and let's figure out a way to add more doors and to thicken what we have here already. Remember, I mentioned this earlier in the show. 52% of our revenue generated to the general fund of this city, 39% is property tax, 13% is franchise fees. What that means is half the money we get as the city of Pensacola is from people living here.
Sure.
And so what would we do if this was a business? We'd say, well, great, that's our biggest revenue stream. How do we make that easier? How do we make that more seamless? How do we help people want to invest in the city of Pensacola? So I think more housing, period, is really the start to help plateau some of the rising affordable housing issues. But secondly, my focus, when you ask me that question, if I'm one of your 5 people, my biggest focus is on workforce housing. And what I mean by that is I say, if you're a teacher in this town, if you're a cop, if you're a firefighter, if you're a nurse, somebody who's protecting and saving lives out there 100%. In our community, you should be able to afford to live in our city. Period. I just think that it's too vital for us to have people that want. I don't want people going to a hospital and saying, well, I can't take your job because I can't afford to live anywhere near.
Right.
So if we want to be a great community, my hyper focus in affordable housing is going to really, really start with the workforce.
No, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you talking about our local heroes because that's what all those folks you mentioned are. So I could have you on here again. In fact, I hope you'll visit me again on the show because we could probably talk again on workworkce housing, affordable housing.
I love doing it.
So
thank you.
So
thank you for having me.
And thanking you for putting yourself out there. A lot of folks don't know what that means. So I want to personally thank you for doing that. Thank you for on my show. Thank you all for joining us in another episode of On the Board with Kevin Stevens, and we'll see you next month.